Hello, and welcome to another episode of MXDTV. This is episode 18 of MXDTV. Can you believe it? 18 episodes into this little show of ours, and if you're tuned in, thank you for tuning in. I'm very excited about tonight's show. We've got a great show planned for you. We're going to keep up the, I've had some guests on as of late. My very first guest was Sam Pereira, the poet from the Central Valley. My executive producer is checking in. She's saying, I see and hear you, which is good. That means we're up and running. So I had the poet from Fresno, from the Central Valley, Sam Pereira on, and then last week I had the poet, novelist, essayist Joanne Stevelos on, and so tonight I have another special guest, my great friend and amazing songwriter, musician, front man for the great rock band Sparklejet. Victor Sotelo is with us tonight, also from the Central Valley. This show is turning into a big Central Valley love fest, which is a good thing, I think. So I'm let's see, who do we have here? Rick. It's Thursday. That's right. Thursday means MXDTV. Rick, thanks for tuning in as always. So I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to play a couple songs that I've thought about a little bit. It's nothing that you ain't heard, but these are songs that pertain to my good friend Victor in one way or another. And I hope he doesn't mind me taking these liberties. But the first song I want to play is off of my last record, and it's called Mr. Sorrow Strikes Again. I think I played this one when Sam was on too, but there's a reason why I'm playing this, and Victor and I will talk about it. Oh, look who's here. Yes, it does. Jay Fung, also from the Central Valley. The great Jay Fung, ladies and gentlemen, is here. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Yes, it does mean Mixed Up TV, and that will soon become apparent once we really get into things here. I'm going to play this song, and then we're going to listen to some tracks off of Sparklejet's new record, which are outstanding. We're going to do a new thing tonight. I already told Victor J that it's going to get mushy tonight. It's going to get real mushy on the show. I have to say I'm a little nervous too. What's going on? All right, let's just do this. What? Visuals? I'm nervous too. Yeah, well, you'll see. We're gonna do a new thing tonight on the show. It's never been done before. It's a new thing. So we're a little nervous. There we go. And I knew you'd come, dressed in a sweater. I know you'll stay through the winter. And when we are done, I'll feel much better. I'd rather be dead than sit here and wonder about you, the things that you sell, the heat waves of August, the freeways and the London motel. Can you be kind? I'll never be rid of the feelings you always remind me of. Your smile and your charm, waltzing through Fresno in summer, I'll be alright again once you've left my side. Downtown is cold, the chill can be bitter, and it's hard on the bumps, the girls on the corner. And when I see those lives on fire, I know that it's you behind the pyre. Yes, you, the stories you tell, bookstore killer, the freeways and the London motel. Oh, trouble be kind, you'll never be rid of the feelings you always remind me of. Your smile and your charm across the bridge to West Sacramento. I'll be alright again once you're by my side. And I still oversleep these winter mornings. I still can't decide. Last night I desired only a stillness in the wake of each thing. The air held inside a dead spider on the sill, or a shell washed up this morning, or even the air inside of a struck chord when the pianist seems to lean over slightly, as if he strains to hear a note just under his own held breath. I wanted once to be picked clean by music, by wind, by sunlight. Excuse me. I'm going to do one more before I bring my best friend on here. This is a song off of my first record that was co-produced by Victor himself. He played a ton of instruments on it. He played bass and he played a lot of guitar and essentially co-wrote the record with me. And that was pretty. Thanks, Jay. Basically, if it wasn't for Victor, the whole thing would have never got done. So, this is a song. This is the penultimate song on the record. It's called Boats in San Pedro Harbor. Miles away, and the burning fever's gone from the heat waves. time and space. Well, it turns and it teeters on, and the wheel takes slightly different turn away. And what's that speed? She's traveling on. And what's that sound that keeps her hanging all along by the freeways? What's that speed she's traveling on? And what's that sound that keeps her hanging all along by the freeways and the freight train? Stay too long. Stay too long. Stay too long. So here's the natural gospel of it all. All systems tower and collapse, and we babble in darkness, seeking foundations for other reconstructions, knowing all along that what works always is nothing. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to, oh, we got some comments here. Let's see, who's here? Hi, Laura Sotelo. Thanks for joining us. Great. Well, we got to just get Mark Vincent's here. Thanks, Mark. Rick Serbo, thanks. All right, let's get my good friend, Mr. Victor Sotelo. Hey, welcome, Victor.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, man.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So I chose those songs because there's Mr. Sorrow. We'll get to the topic maybe a little bit later, but I thought it was something that would maybe help us segue to something a little further into the show. Look, Scott Oliver's here too.
Scott Oliver. He's the producer supreme.
So Scott Oliver produced your last record. Isn't that true?
The latest one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what and that's what we're here to talk about. Kola, your newest record.
Correct.
And you recorded it.
I hope so.
You recorded that at Peter Wolf's studio in Fresno, California.
That is correct. Yeah, the good old Peter Wolf. Yeah, Wolf Sound, and he's still there, and he did a fabulous job. He co-produced.
Eric Peters is here.
Eric mixed the record. Hey, Eric.
The record. Eric is
he
here.
Did. Yeah. He did so what's cool is I don't know if anybody knows. Well, it doesn't matter. There's a guy that I really looked up to who discovered the Replacements. His name is Peter Jesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And fantastic music guy, and he discovered the Replacements, signed them to Twin Tone. Anyway, years ago, I reached out to him. This is like the early days of the band, and back in their late '90s. And he was cool. He left a message on my machine, and at the time, it was like so cool and fun. You know, like wow.
Right. Yeah.
And then we spoke a couple times on the phone, and that was really neat. And then, you know, like it wasn't his cup of tea, and so we moved on. But we did this album, and I thought, you know what? I friended him on Facebook about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna say, hey, if you want to listen to it,
sure.
You know.
Right.
And he did, and he
right.
responded, and he was really awesome about it. And
he
had
on.
Great things to say about the sound of it and the
right.
songs, and he even said something, you know, like anyway, I shouldn't kiss and tell, but he was very
yes, you should. Yes, definitely.
No. So anyway, these guys did a fabulous job. Scott, Eric,
right.
Peter.
So Scott Oliver, who is the of the late and great Miss Allens.
No, they're still around.
Are they?
In a way, I think so.
Are they? Didn't you guys just play a show, Scott and Jay? You guys played a show recently.
And they put an album out.
And that's right. I have the album. That's right. I did.
Yeah, voyeur. We should just talk about the Miss Allens for the next hour.
Wait. Here's Jay. Okay. Some of us. So this is all of you guys are what's considered, in my opinion, Central Valley royalty. I remember I was thinking
Manny is a regal dude.
Manny Diaz, who is a regal dude. Scott Oliver. So, you know, I remember going to shows. I didn't even know the Miss Allens, but I remember going to your shows. I was always really drunk and in the front row yelling quite a bit, but
yeah, which was much appreciated.
But I have to confess, I mean, I'm a little nervous having you on the show because
I'm not gonna drop kick you.
I know, but it's like I don't know. I was thinking about this, and I don't know that there's anybody more influential in my life as far as like being so close to somebody who, ever since I've known you, I don't remember when we met. How long ago that was, but that was when Sparklejet started, and you've been doing Sparklejet for over 20 years now, isn't that true?
It's 25 years, I think.
You've had this band for 25 years, and
Wade Krause.
With Wade Krause, and your newest member is Chris
Eastup, yeah, he's the new guy. He's the young guy. He's younger than us.
Right. So how long did it take you guys to put this record together, your new record?
Well, we started writing songs for it probably in 2016, 2015.
Right.
Like we had stuff we were doing, Wade and I, but we didn't have a full-time bass player, and we were writing, but you know, figuring it out. And then we got Chris, and then things started coalescing and coming together easier, better. Just because it was consistent, you know, we were able to do it often, and so then we had the songs, and right around then it's a matter of finances, you know, trying to you have the material and you're ready to go, but you don't have the cash.
Right.
So we got the cash to go in and record at Peters in late 2019. So we tracked for, I want to say, maybe a month. I mean, that includes overdubs and those kinds of things. And we were done with most of all the tracking by January, I think. And then Eric Peters got the sessions, and he started mixing them, and then the pandemic hit.
Oh wow!
And so we didn't do anything for about a year.
Right.
And I mean, nothing. And then after that, it took some time to kind of I felt really disconnected from the album.
Right.
And it took a while to kind of get back to a place where it's like, oh yeah, you know, like it's actually something worth putting out.
Right.
And so we had energy to do it again and finish it.
So not only that happened, and stop me anytime I bring up something, you know, or just if you don't want to answer, but many things kind of transpired in that window of the pandemic, correct? I mean,
For like a lot of people, like probably most people, yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Stuff happened. I was to relate it to the album. From my perspective, I will say this. I think that the album, looking at it now, because it's we finished a lot of it in 2019.
right,
So looking at it and listening to it now, I would say that the album is about the end of things, and not in a bad way. It's just, you transition to a different stage of
yes,
life and
sure,
things. And my father passed away in
right,
2019, late
mm-hmm,
2019.
mm-hmm,
Wade lost someone who he was close to.
right,
My ex-wife got cancer in
mm-hmm,
2019.
wow,
And then my marriage started ending about 2020. And then
mm,
the pandemic hit. I lost my job. I went on unemployment to try to protect my wife at the time, because she was immunocompromised from the treatment.
right,
And we didn't know at the time, like, what's this virus going to do? Like,
right,
if I catch it, am I going to?
right, right,
I didn't want to take that risk. So things
sure,
like that happened, and then as a result, I I suffered a during that quarantine period. I suffered I guess you'd call a mental health crisis,
mm-hmm,
and I got tons of anxiety attacks that I would get every day,
yeah,
and then that led to depression,
right,
more depression than I normally dealt with. and
right, right,
and then, like, there were things. My marriage was going bad, and I felt guilt about a lot of things I hadn't dealt with. I had all this time just staying at home, and
right,
it was like the chickens came home to roost,
right, sure,
and
sure,
and I had to process a lot of stuff, and I just was trying to handle it by myself, and I
sure,
wasn't strong enough, and I didn't tell anybody how bad I was getting until it was too late.
right,
And
right,
at that point, my sister, stepped in and really took care of me for about 3 months, where I was just non-functional.
thank God for sisters,
Yeah, absolutely. And,
mhm,
she taught me the true meaning of family, man.
yeah, right,
And so in the sense, that was a good thing. That was a
right,
good experience to go through
mm-hmm,
that with her.
mm-hmm,
And then, friends like Jay and Scott and
mm-hmm,
my
mm-hmm,
bandmates, Wade,
right, mm-hmm.
Chris. I don't mean to leave anybody out, but I'm on the spot and I'm trying to think of,
Sure,
like,
no,
but
it's okay, yeah,
my friend Patrick, I mean,
mm-hmm,
I have a lot of good friends. I'm lucky.
yeah,
And
well,
all of that made a difference.
right,
Ultimately, uh, I got treatment and
great,
was able to get some therapy,
right,
and all of that really slowly started getting things back for me.
yeah, mm-hmm.
And
You,
and
you
because
said something interesting,
it was about 6 months of, like, suicidal ideation, like it
right,
was heavy
right,
stuff.
right,
But I made it back, and at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to play music anymore
right.
or
What a
write.
loss that would be for us if you didn't.
Well, yeah, I was starting to, feel like maybe I was done. I
Yeah,
didn't feel like, it's
sure,
funny. Like, I've told people before, like, people say, well, why don't you go do this? Why don't you do that? Go
right,
back to college. And I'm like,
right,
I'm not the kind of person that I have to feel passionate about something to do it and
right,
follow
right,
through. And if
right,
not, it's just not going to happen. Like, I'm not
right,
going to fake
right,
it. And
right,
so I didn't feel it. I didn't feel that. I'd never felt that absence of that in my life,
right,
since I discovered music and fell in love
yeah,
with it. So
mm-hmm,
that was really weird.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe I was done, and
Right,
then luckily things started getting better, up here, and
mm-hmm,
uh, the therapy helped, the medication helped,
mm-hmm,
and just support. A lot of
mm-hmm,
support from people that I care about, and
mm-hmm,
it made me
mm-hmm,
feel better.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to the album again, like it'd been about a year,
Right.
and I listened to it, and I thought, you know what, like this might be okay. This might actually be okay.
Mm.
And then I started playing guitar again. I
Right.
hadn't played in like 8 months,
Mm.
and I started playing guitar again, and I had to kind of relearn it, and
Yeah.
that whole process of what's weird is what my brain went through all of that trauma.
Yeah.
I had to kind of retrain my brain to learn to play.
Mm.
That sounds really weird, but that it was really odd. Like the way the synapses were firing weren't the same.
Sure.
And then not to mention I didn't have calluses anymore.
Right.
But
Right.
then once I got over that hump, it was like, oh wait, yeah, I can do this, and
Right.
it felt good again.
Yeah.
And slowly, you know, what's funny, man? I went back and started listening to music from when I was young,
Right.
like really young, teenager.
Sure.
And I fell in love with that stuff all over again, and that started getting me back.
Right.
So
I think it's a good time because we're gonna do something new on the show.
yeah,
And we actually have tracks from your new record, and I think this is a good spot to play one of them. How do you feel about that?
sounds good to me.
So let's
Keep me
play.
from talking.
Huh? No. That I just feel like it. I just feel like
Unless I say better.
no. I think it's just time for people to hear
Absolutely.
what almost didn't transpire, which is this record. So we're gonna do something different, which is I'm gonna pull up. Can I play the first track?
Go for it. Whatever you feel like.
Tell us a little bit about this track. What you gonna do?
This is, believe it or not, this is the first song Sparklejet ever wrote as a band. We had an album done, you know, the first album, but none of those songs were written as a band. And this was the first one once all the original guys got together and formed. It was the first song. Hey, Henry.
Henry, what's up, man?
It was the first tune we wrote together, and then we didn't play it again for like 20 years.
I remember the opening lines of this song, but this is a great song, and I think in light of the things that have happened over the last couple days, I think this song is even more relevant than it already was. But let's play it. This is called What You Gonna Do. This is the first track off of the new Sparklejet record, Kola. Here it goes. Enjoy.
Roll over
Oh man. Oh man, I'm so glad we decided to do it like this. I don't know about anybody else, but man, it's so exciting to hear this record. It's like it wouldn't do otherwise to hear it any other way than just like that. There's Henry Nice.
Yeah,
Henry is like me, a longtime fan of Sparklejet. I mean,
yeah, and
any
Mark and Henry's he's done a lot of art, man. And
he's done a lot of artwork.
he
Mike,
did
there's
some
Mike.
art
Thank
for
you,
us.
Mike.
He used to do the posters for us.
Yes, I mean, I remember working in the I don't forget what it's called, screen printing shop behind
Oh, Into the Sun.
Into
Yeah,
the Sun,
yeah,
Henry and Wade's place. Right,
yeah.
they were nice enough to let me work there, let us work there. Um, so what? Hey, this. So what made you decide to have uh, Sherry? Thank you. What made you decide to have Scott produce the record? You've never had a producer before, have you?
No, not really. The because we worked in Chicago, and that was just like us, and it just was recorded really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we did Fonovella, that was self-produced, and
Mm-hmm.
the one before the Bar Guest was self-produced. I mean, they all were just us doing our best to make the song
Right.
sound good. And I
What?
think Wade and I had talked about it for a while, for a few years, that we were getting to a place where we felt like we've gotten as far as we could go by ourselves. Like we've
Right.
taken it as far
Right.
as we could take it,
Sure.
uh, for better or worse, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
that means. But we just felt like we needed something different.
Yeah. And how did having Scott there change it, make things different?
Well,
What was this?
for one thing, um, it was because originally we were thinking we would go to Chicago again and
Mm-hmm.
track out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation. This is before this is in 2019. So
Mm-hmm.
Scott and I were talking one day, and I was telling him, "Yeah, I think we're gonna fly back out there and record an album." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool," And he said, "But you kind of made that album, right, already?" And it was like,
Right. Right.
"That's true." And so we started talking about the benefits of staying in Fresno at Peter's place, because I had introduced him to Peter, and Scott's been working on a fabulous country album there that he will unleash on the world soon. I hope the world needs to hear this. So,
Yeah.
uh, and
Scott's working on 5 to 10 albums
yeah,
at any given
yeah,
time. Isn't that true?
Scott's
He's
the
the most
Bob Pollard
prolific.
of
Yeah.
California. So, what was I saying? Something about
You've already.
Scott was saying that there'd be benefits of doing it, like say at Peters. It could be recorded really well,
Mm-hmm.
and the money we would be spending, and the condensed amount of time that we would be
Mm-hmm.
limited to
Right.
traveling to Chicago,
Right. Sure.
we could spend that time and budget those resources here in Fresno and do a different kind of album.
Right.
And I was like, all right. And so then I said, do you want to produce it? And he said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of went from there. I asked
Right.
Wade and Chris if they were on board with
Right.
that, and they were.
Right.
And we just,
Yeah. I just wanted to say that track, the first track, I've been listening to it so much, man, and it's so fucking powerful, and the sound of everything, it's so urgent, and your voice is so urgent, and I think like I hesitate to bring it up, but with the thing that just the high school shooting that just happened, and all this shit that's happening.
yeah,
I love the message of this song, and the question you pose to people, like, because
right,
I don't know if I'm getting the song wrong, please tell me, but you're just kind of blasting the facade of like right and left, and the
right,
political struggle, the ideological struggle that we think exists when there's like a puppet master kind of behind the scenes, and we're just like fighting over scraps, and being told all this bullshit. And
right.
I love that message, and then you you ask the question, what are you going to do, you know?
Right.
And it really comes down to that, doesn't it? I mean, we have to decide how we're going to live our life and what kind of choice we're going to make, because we only have so much control over what we can do. Anyway, I just love the
No,
message
no.
of that song, man.
No,
And
thank you for saying that.
it
Absolutely.
really,
And you know, it's funny because I had to rewrite the lyrics of that song because they were 25-year-old lyrics,
yeah,
and the only line that survived from the original song was the first verse. The first verse is
right. I remember it.
mostly still the same.
Right.
But the funny thing is that in rewriting, what unlocked the key for us, the song, is that we finally figured out the chorus section. We could never get the chorus to do what it needed to do, and whether it's just, you know, eventually, you know, a broken clock is right twice a day. Like we got, you know, figured it out.
Right.
But it worked, and I was struggling with some lines, and Chris and I were going over it back and forth. It was a great experience I had with Chris C-Step, the bass player, and I, you know, like I don't know where I picked this up from, but I love the idea of, if you can add something that's truth to a work of art, like just a nugget of truth,
right,
then you've got a little victory, you know. And and he and I came up with that part: power will always be power.
Right,
this will always
right.
be true. So what you gonna do?
Right,
and
right.
when we came up with it, I was like, that's it.
That's
for
it.
me, you know, like
Yeah.
that's it.
Right.
And I thought, well, that you can't deny that line. And to me, you can't deny that. And that's truthful, whether you're on the left or on the right.
Right.
And so I was really happy with that. We were able to come up with that.
I love when you're writing a song, it always comes down to that moment, right? You're like, when you get to that moment in a song and you're like, I need a line right here that sums up the whole thing. What is it? And you just sit there writing like one shitty line after another. Right? Until you get it. Or you don't get it, and the song never gets done.
But you know what? I figured something out, and I think this is a trick. I think it takes guts, because it also can be expensive if you can end up with nothing. But you know, like I'll agonize on the, you know, writing and trying to come up with it, make something work, right? And then all of a sudden, I'll get it to a place, right? I'll get it to a place where I think it works. But then all of a sudden, it's like you're in the vocal booth and you're tracking your vocals for the song finally.
Right.
And I'll not look at the page anymore.
Right.
And I'll start singing and writing the song on the mic.
Right.
As I'm tracking it.
Right.
And the times that I've been able to do that, I've gotten the best response from people.
Right.
Like all the songs that I've done that on, I've had somebody come to me and say, man, that's your song. That's
right. That's the spot. Right.
And you can tell that it hits them somehow. And so that conduit is open somehow, and you're able to connect with people much better than, you know, agonizing over lines and being clever and saying, oh, well, I used this word and I made it rhyme with that.
Right.
All that bullshit. Like
well, you've done all the work, and now you're just letting it come through you, so to speak, right? I mean,
it's like an athlete goes out there to execute, right? And they have to do it with confidence, knowing that, man, I've put in the work. My body is a machine, you know, like it's ready to go out there and do what I know it can do. And you perform and you execute it, man. And so in a sense, you have that muscle memory, or that experience, or that thing you develop as an artist, where I can do this, man. And I don't care if the microphone's in front of me and I know that it's recording, like I can do another one.
Right.
Or I can, you know, like whatever. If it doesn't work, like who cares?
All of a sudden, it's no longer so precious, right?
It's not right. That's the thing. Get away from the precious part.
Right. Well, let's play another song.
Sounds good.
I think we should play another song. You want to pick one? You have you know which ones, right?
Ask Jay which one I should play.
Jay, should we play Ophelia, Winding Up My Head. I say we save Sucker Punch for the end, but
That's fine.
or unless you want to do it,
No, that's what we would do live. So
I would do that one last.
Wade would commend that decision.
Let's do. All right. We want
I
to
think
please.
I don't think Jay's watching anymore.
Yeah, he is. He's right here.
He's just
Hold
play
on.
the last one.
Play the last one. God damn it. Thanks for nothing, Jay. All right, let's play
Ophelia.
I was gonna say gonna say that too. So let's do it.
He says he can't take it anymore.
Right. Yes. Should we stay on the screen?
Why not?
August moon in your highlights, me on you. In that moonlight, the smell of our youthful glow, the thrill of what we could know. There we shared foolish names, replied to them just the same. Over time, over our heads, lines we crossed. There in your bed, the smell of your twirling hair, the thrill of the looks we shared. Then we played a game we believed in, a promise, the impulse of a summer's kiss. We were at the turn. All that childhood behind us, somewhere there between us, we got to what runs beneath. Thunderstorms in twilight underlined what we denied, the spell of a spinning wind, the thrill of the chill it sends. Now we use different names, reply to them just the same. Autumn moon in that skyline, forlorn skyline, in the spell of the whirlwind. Was it something that I said? Then we caught a joke. We believed in the laughter that we shared under a desert sun. We were at the turn of discovery. Two lines could emerge as one. We were at the turn of a promise made. No more foolish names.
Oh man, dang. There's so many things I want to say about that song.
I gotta tell you, man, the first time Eric, because Eric worked hard on these mixes.
That's a beautiful song.
And
Man.
the first time he played me that mix, and I was like, whoa, like it was pretty magical, man. Like he did an excellent job on that.
I want to nerd out and ask you like what kind of guitar you played, and
so on the verse on that little interlude thing.
Yes, Laura, it's so good, isn't it?
It's the solo is a nylon that Peter has there at the studio.
Yeah,
some crappy nylon,
right?
And then doubled with a what's it called, mandocello.
Oh man, it's so great. So the thing I think of, there's a couple of things I want to say. You say I've heard you describe your music as dainty aggression.
Yeah.
And to me, like, when you hear that song, that's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, right.
But it also reminds me of, I hate to like bring up another band or something, but because but that's all we have, our other references. But the thing I love about your music is you have this way of being so like, there's a muscularity to it. It's muscular, but then it's like angular, and it has like these interesting chord choices, tones and voicings, and then the form is always like blasted out of the hemisphere. Like you don't follow any traditional song form, and then amidst all that like rock and roll kind of artistry going on, there's like the tenderness too.
Oh, right.
That I think, like, I don't think there was anybody better at it than maybe Pete Townsend or Paul Westerberg, like those guys who I know you idolize, but I think these guys had that kind of like rock and roll swagger, but they would have within these bombastic songs, they'd have these moments of like tenderness that would just break your heart, and I think you accomplish that all the time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's funny, man, because those guys like that taught us what we know, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
but I do have to say Scott had some good input on that song, because that song. It's funny. I'll try to keep this as entertaining and concise as possible. That song started out. It was just Wade and I at the time. We didn't have a bass player, and it started off on 12-string acoustic, and I was borrowing Scott's Dean Markley acoustic pickup. But it sounded like a Alex Chilton,
right,
big star, throwaway, like
I forgot to mention him too. Yes,
it didn't sound as good as them, but it was trying to sound like something like that.
Yes,
and then we played it a couple of times, and then Chris joined the band, and then I thought, f that song, it's not going anywhere, and Wade tends to like rockers more, and I like rockers, so it was kind of like, nobody's excited about this one, so forget it. So then we wrote a bunch of other tunes, and then I bought a guitar, a green guitar, first stack guitar.
Yeah.
And it showed up, and it was this really beautiful green, and it reminded me of that art, that painting of Ophelia laying in the pond with all those flowers, and she's wearing a green gown. And so I named the guitar Ophelia, and I started playing it, and it sounded good. And I remembered the changes, and I was like, oh yeah, that's that song I threw away. It had been like a year or something since we played it. And I thought, oh, I had a different take on how to approach it, right? The song. Mm-hmm. So we got it together, and we got it going, and then we got Scott involved. And it was funny because you get wrapped up in your own bullshit and thinking, oh, I'm going to make it this, right? The song. And it started trying to do this jazzy thing at the end, right? And Scott was there listening to us play this song, and it was pre-production, and he listens to it, and he goes, that part that you played just one time, why don't you play that part again?
Right.
And I'm like, which part? He goes, that part, that it's the neat part.
Right.
I said, oh, you mean like it's the solo section?
Right.
He's like, yeah, that part, play it again. He goes, why are you only playing it once? And I was like, I don't know. It's like, okay, well, we played it again. And then when we got to the ending part, he goes, yeah, like those changes you got at the end, like, why don't you stick to it? Try the verse again.
Right.
I was like, okay. So we played the verse again. and then I realized we're not a jazz band, like we're a rock band. So like, screw those jazz chords. Let's keep it, within what we're trying to do. So he was really good at keeping us grounded and true to like, no, this is what you guys do. Like, just do it. Don't get distracted by other conceits or other things.
Sure. It's nice to have somebody in the room too to say like, that part, a part that you just think is like,
like whatever, it's throwaway.
Right, and they're like, no, that's the part, part, right? And it's,
and he did that. He would do that.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Then another really cool thing, really quick. We were tracking some other song, and he was like, he was always in the moment. He was always there, but he didn't come into the tracking room with us because we tracked live. We tracked as a 3-piece, and
it sounds like that, by the way.
Yeah, he wasn't coming in and like doing, but this one time he came in, and we're like, what's he doing in here? And he like, okay, guys, he goes, you see this? And he's tapping his foot. He goes, the way you're playing it right now, I don't want to do that. my foot isn't tapping.
Right.
So why don't we take it back to the tempo that you guys, where my foot wants to tap, because that's where you guys need to be. So we're like, okay. And so we never had that before, where like someone was listening on that level. Like, no, this song needs to groove here. Right. And that's where it's going to have impact. So that was really cool.
Man. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Briefly, can you tell me what the song's about? I know you're.
It's about.
Do you mind?
Do you mind? Seconds.
Huh?
It's about 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something. I didn't want to call it Ophelia.
I want to know why you called it Ophelia, and I want to know what it's about.
So the guitar. The reason the song came back, and
because that's a loaded character.
It is.
It's like there's a lot.
Totally. So, and I knew that, right? But the reason.
I mean, how many? I just immediately think like, is he just accusing himself of driving women to like madness or like?
Right.
Yeah.
And I probably have.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a case to be made for that.
Absolutely. Totally.
But the funny thing is the song exists because I bought that guitar.
Okay.
Every guitar, as you know, like has its own thing that it gives you. And I started playing that song again, and then rewrote it in a different vein. And it no longer was like this wannabe big star thing. It was like something else.
Right.
And it was because of that guitar, and the green of that guitar reminded me of that painting. And so I named the guitar Ophelia.
Oh, I see.
So when we're writing songs, I don't have titles because I don't have all the lyrics. So we do like stupid working titles, right?
Yeah.
Work stupid. So I couldn't think of something what to call the song. So I said, well, why don't we just call it Ophelia for now?
Right. I see.
Well, when Scott got involved, he was like, play that Ophelia song. It's like, oh, okay. And so then I finally finished lyrics, and I'm like, so what am I going to call this thing? Because there's not like a real hook chorus thing.
No. Right.
Lyric line to hang on the song on, and he's like, why don't you call it Ophelia? And I'm like, but that's loaded, man. Like,
I know it is loaded. I was like trying to make the connection, and I'm trying.
And he fought for it, man. He said, no, keep it as.
Well,
Ophelia.
It's great. Yeah, it does, because it just adds to the adds to the mystique of the song.
It does, and
it's so mysterious and beautiful.
And there's another part as to why I relented. I tend to, if anyone's ever paid attention or geeked out, which probably they haven't, every album has had a song that I rip off a title from a classic song, whether it's a standard,
right,
a jazz standard, or a rock standard or something, And and the band, who I love, has a song called Ophelia.
Right.
So I thought, well, it continues that tradition of ripping off people and using their song, because you can't copyright a title, right?
Right.
So I take advantage of that.
I see. I think we should play another song, dude.
Go for it.
Um,
Oh
you
wait,
didn't-
Melanie
wait,
says
you didn't-
she likes titles, and dude,
Titles are
she
everything.
has great titles for her paintings.
Yes, she does. She's a genius.
I love the titles for her paintings. So yes, Melanie, you're right.
Also, before we play another song, I asked you to tell me what that song's about, and you evaded me though.
I did.
For a minute. You don't have to if you don't want to. But
What's it about?
I mean, it doesn't.
And what do you mean? That's a weird. I never know how to answer that. Like, what do you?
Well, you're singing about a woman in there that you had a relationship with.
Well,
is that
it
true?
depends. If I'm answering the song, like say, like
or
what,
it doesn't have to be you, the speaker of the song.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be autobiographical.
So let's take the Joni Mitchell approach, where she says, you know, hey, these songs aren't about me. Like I'm
right.
I'm
I
writing,
didn't,
you know,
and
like,
I should have clarified. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't.
so-
It doesn't have to be about you.
So the song, the character is a person who's been around and is looking back on a moment in time, and it's first love.
Right. Okay.
So, but they're episodes like memory, right? They're episodes of the time of that first love, and it's not necessarily an order. Like like, you know how movies they do jump edits, and so you go from the past to the present, and then it'll jump around.
Well, as Larry Levis says, I'm paraphrasing, but a good poem has to annihilate time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this song tries to do that. And so it's a moment. While it's a moment in time of the past, the song is in the present. The guy in the song, or the person in the song, is jumping around in their mind about what happened but they're in the moment of now. Like they're the older person looking back on a lost love. And so I guess that's the best I can do, man. It's something.
That's good. No, it's great. We have a couple more songs on deck to play, and we've already been online for about an hour. But we have a. I mean, I think we can go a little bit longer if everybody wants to hang in there with us.
Let's ask people if they care to hear any more of this.
Well, I think definitely they do. I know I do. So, I think we should play another song.
Go for it.
And if somebody wants to chime in and say, play another song. If you say not to play another song, I won't share your opinion, and I'll pretend I didn't see it. So.
Well, the boss is giving the thumbs up.
Yeah, the executive producer just gave us a 5 thumbs up. So let's play. Let's see. Henry says keep it going. There you go. That's enough for me.
If Loco says go, then
And
go.
I believe you told me this is Wade Krause's favorite song.
Winding on my head. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the real boss of Sparklejet is Wade Krause.
That's right.
So let's play Winding Up My Head.
Yeah.
I love this intro.
Wind up key for your heart. You had velveteen kind of wear and tear, those tiny thin metal parts. Your hair, synthetic, I don't know, focused on every trot you took. it along now. Better send it home. Better send it along now and save some grace alone. Better send it on. Better send it on. Better send. Ragged drooping eye, tattered tarry fur, painted silly smile, whizzing motor whir winding up my head. Ragged drooping eye, tattered tarry fur, painted silly smile, whizzing motor whir winding up my head.
I was caught texting you behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
So, man, what a great tune. Why is that Wade Cross's favorite song, I wonder?
I think he likes his drum part, but also I think that he's a big fan of trying to spread out the stereo imaging,
mm-hmm.
and he had a great idea. My guitar part was done as a single guitar part thing, and Wade said, why don't you break that guitar part up into two parts, and then we'll split them like as wide as we can, and they'll be playing off each other. And I was like, how do I do that? but once I figured that out, it was like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. And so I think that idea really paid off, because if you listen to it, it's like this interesting pattern.
Yeah.
And I think also it has this quirky. It's another toy song. There's songs about toys on this album.
Yes. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and this one, it had to do with when I was. I think Wade could relate to this part of it, in that when I was a kid, I traveled across the border to Mexico to visit my grandparents, and they had these toys that I guess were either my dad's and his brother's toys, or just stuff they had laying around.
Right. And
it was old, and they had this one that was a wind-up little. It was either a bear or a dog. I don't know, but it had like this funny painted face thing, and it was like terry cloth, fur, but it was made out of like these thin metal skeleton thing. I mean, you couldn't see it, but and you would wind it up, and it would move. And I loved this toy, man. It was my favorite toy. I loved going there just for that toy.
Yeah.
And so again, kind of like a friend of mine said, like it gets to a time where you put away certain things,
Right.
they've outlived their usefulness. and so in that sense, there's that memory of like, the joy that a simple little toy like that could bring. But if I were to try to relive that now, it wouldn't hold.
It wouldn't work. It is safe to say, though, that that's a common theme for you, isn't it? These like childhood images, and on
this album, yeah, for sure.
Or even in general, or mostly this record, or is like over the course of your writing.
Well, I would say so, because
I think so too. But what do I know? But
no, but I think knowing that never will happen again, childhood, but that it was important, and what an experience, right? To experience childhood as a human being, it's so magical, and having those fresh experiences and feelings, and being fascinated by everything, and being that sponge, and it could be like the simplest thing that could send your imagination into like, man, time stood still.
Right.
and then also laughs and doing stupid stuff and,
Right.
and getting in trouble and things like that. That comes a little later, but you're
Right.
still in childhood.
I think
So I think stuff like that. I had Star Wars toys that I beheaded. And I would bury them in the sand, trying to recreate,
yeah.
that sort of thing.
This is so great right now. What I'm experiencing, listening to you talk about your childhood and songs and everything,
Yeah.
and I get to share it with all these people all at once. This is to me just like, I don't know how many phone conversations we've had that have gone on into the night where we'd sit together and talk about any number of things, and then they would always evolve into these kinds of conversations. But
Yes.
I'm glad I get to share with other people. I know there's a lot of people here who know you, but there's other people here who don't, that like I get to share this kind of experience with more than just myself, with more
But
than...
you put out the call, man.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, the K stands for, if anybody's interested, we used to drink Kessler whiskey, and
Yes. Copious amount of Kessler whiskey.
and we would listen to records into the night and talk
That's
about
right.
them, and so
And maybe sometimes a little cocaine or maybe
a little, yeah, just a little.
a little meth here or there.
Yeah, maybe. Well, such is the Central Valley, right?
That's right.
You can't really escape those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So if people want to hear this record, dude, where do they hear it? Anywhere, right? It's
Yeah,
available everywhere.
It's all the platforms,
If you want to purchase it, download it, do it on Bandcamp, correct?
Bandcamp is the more direct way of like
Of
contributing
to an artist.
to the cause.
Sure.
In our case, but if you want to listen to it, if it's more convenient for you on Spotify or
Right.
Apple Music,
Right.
YouTube, Pandora has
Right.
it.
And we talked about that the other day. Like the most important thing for
Just
you
listen to it.
is like you want people to hear it, correct?
Yeah.
And I agree. I think people need to hear this record. You said you guys recorded, you tracked it live together as a band, and it plays that way. It listens that way. And the thing I remember most about, you're such a calm, like sensitive, intelligent, funny guy, and like easy to hang out with, and always very relaxed. And then when you take the stage, you guys, and Wade too. I don't know Chris, so I can't. I'm sure he can match your intensity, but or else he wouldn't be in the band. But Wade's the same way. One of the most soft-spoken, beautiful, intelligent, caring people you'd ever meet. And then you guys take the stage and just crush. You're just like a maniac. You're just like this. You go through a personality change almost, and I think hearing this record, you get that. Like you get the live Sparklejet vibe.
Oh,
so
good.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important for people to hear the record. Melanie's got the Bandcamp link up. My executive
Sweet.
producer is on the case.
Thanks, Melanie.
My hard copy CD record. Mike McGrath is asking.
So to speak to Mike McGrath's question.
Mike is a good friend of ours here in Woodstock.
Good, nice, good.
And a music aficionado and lover. So
excellent. Well, no, there is no hard copy or CD. And what's weird about that for me is that I try to be, I'm not a Luddite, and so I do try to be aware of the age we live in, technologically speaking, and I do work in that trade
Right.
to a degree, but I'm not like I am a child of the 70s, man. So I really like tactile physical things still. Like I'd rather read a book.
Me too.
And smell the pages and have that all, and turn the page, physically turn them. And the experience of reading the book in my hand is, I've tried and I can do it, but I still prefer the old way.
Mm-hmm.
8 tracks. And but the thing is, this is the first time we've released something. So I'll say it this way: we've released something that doesn't exist in a physical manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always loved the thing as a creative person, and you probably share this, Mark, or anyone else who's listening. It's all in your head, and you're figuring it out, and you're trying to make it as good as you can. And then there comes a moment where it manifests in some physical form, and you have an album, you have a CD, you have a cassette, you have an 8-track, whatever, man, and it's physical, and it's there, and you're like, this exists now. It came out of my head, and now
right.
It's real.
Yeah,
like
that's a cool thing, right?
And it is a cool thing. And this is we made the decision. I thought, no, there's no, I can't justify bringing more plastic into the world.
Sure.
And then, so I thought, no, we'll make it a digital streaming thing. And, but it's kind of weird because it exists, I guess, but it's not physically,
right.
existing.
Right. Well, I would urge everybody to go to their favorite streaming platform and not only listen to your new record, but listen to all of your records, because they're some of the best records out there. And I'm going to go on record now. I'm saying it here in front of the whole world that's watching and listening right now, that Sparklejet is the greatest rock and roll band of all time. You heard it. You heard it here first. Well, you're at top 3 anyway.
All right.
In my opinion.
I can live with that.
And I'm going to back it up by playing this final track, which fucking
don't forget, we're Fresno's second best band.
Fresno's second best band, behind the venerable Miss Allen's, I suppose you're talking about.
Oh, I don't know, man. You'd have to. The Miss Allen's, Mofo Party Band, the Clams. They'd have to duke it out, man. I'll have to play one more time and see.
Well, maybe, but I'm gonna play this track right here, and I challenge anybody to rock harder and better than this. Ladies and gentlemen, Sucker Punch. Fasten your seatbelt. This shit is...
It's like a peak below the
Yeah, man.
So you know what's funny, man?
Dude, love that.
So at the end, you hear that noise, like, and
Melanie wants the tour dates, dude.
oh man,
She's pissed you guys aren't playing when we're going to be there. And we're going to get to that real quick. The show's almost over. I didn't mean to interrupt, but we'll get to that.
no worries.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Peter Wolf, tracked the album,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things I recorded, I told Peter, I said, I want to.
The great Peter Wolf.
Yes, we can't do it in. We can't do the album in a 2-inch tape, right? Magnetic tape.
Right.
But regardless, I said we're going to use Pro Tools, but let's.
You couldn't do it because of supply problems,
no,
or
can't get his machine to work. Poor Peter, man. Yeah. So and he was like, do you want to wait until I fix it?
I love how we have to drop into the Peter Wolf impersonation.
Yeah. Well, somebody says search engines are fucked in a whole different way.
I don't know what that means, Mike. I don't know what that means, but
I think maybe he's talking about the algorithms.
I see. Yeah.
Maybe. So the thing is, I told Peter, but let's do it as if we were, in the sense that every time we come back in, let's bring the sessions back up at at different levels. So you have to bring up the faders to hear what we did, rather than it being programmed to always be at the same place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like this discipline of, like, back in the old days when it was analog, you'd have the board, and then you'd zero out the board, and when you'd come back to it, you'd have to set the levels back for each channel that was tracked, and sometimes you'd mess up, and so you'd have a channel louder than normal, and you'd be like, whoa, what's that? And by accident, you'd come across something really cool. Right. Like all the classic albums, or a lot of them, have those kinds of accidents back in the day when things were done analog. And so I told Peter, I want those accidents. Let's try to encourage that.
Sure.
Well, one of the things that happened was in Pro Tools, you can take things and put them anywhere you want and save them for later, right? And say, we'll get to that later. We'll make it something and we'll drop it in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had recorded these weird sounds of the guitar, and he created this sort of loop,
right,
and on Sucker Punch. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do with this? Where do you want it? And I said, I don't know yet. We haven't figured that out. And he says, well, I'm going to put it over here at the end, just so that we know it's there and we don't lose it. And then we'll get to it and we'll figure it out. It's like, great. Well, we forgot all about it, and we never developed it. It's like it just never made it into the song, right?
Right.
So we send the mixes to Eric, and I forgot all about it, and I hadn't listened to any of the stuff from Peter. So Peter sends the sessions to Eric. Eric grabs them, he brings them into his computer, and he starts mixing. And he sends us the first mix of Sucker Punch, and it had that thing at the end. And I told Eric, dude, you're a genius. Like, what is that, man? How did you come up with that? He's like, it was there.
It was already there.
It was there. He goes, it's at the end. I thought you guys wanted that. And I'm like, oh, it's like
you forgot.
So I was like, leave it in. That's cool.
Yeah, well, that you got what you wanted. It happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And I can't imagine the song without it.
That's so cool. And do you mention a dumpster in Clovis in that?
Dumpster in Clovis, yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
That stole my heart right there.
And the bottle of nitrate found in the dumpster in Clovis.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to, what is it? Something about, I was trying to rhyme it with something, and I thought, Clovis will rhyme with it.
Right.
I figured I can talk shit on Clovis.
Yeah, why not? Right. Clovis, in case you don't know, is a outlying city in Fresno County. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, Jay doesn't go into Clovis.
No, you can't go into Clovis. I mean, I used to go into Clovis, but I'd get into a lot of trouble there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing, that song was hard to sing. And
Yeah.
what I mean, it was hard to get the performance I wanted.
I bet it's a killer
and
performance.
I ended up singing that song. Because I would do a session, I'd do multiple takes.
You couldn't do it a lot in one session. You could only probably do it a couple times.
Three
three
takes,
and that's it.
And then Scott would say, "Yeah, that's the one." And then I'd listen back later, like a day later or whatever, and I'd think like, "No, that's not it, man. That's not it."
Yeah.
I'd go back in, do another 3 takes of it or whatever, however, until my voice failed.
Right.
And then he'd be like, "That's the one. It's better." And I'd listen to it, and I'd go, "No, it's still not doing it, man." And then we finally went in one day, and I was pissed, and I was like, "This is it, man." And I sang it. I thought like I have to stop trying to sing and just be mad.
Yeah, right.
Just like
man. Yeah.
So
it
finally worked out, but it definitely was not a first take song.
No, it's killer. It's so killer, man. And that's like, that's what you guys. I mean, you guys do. I mean, I think we picked a nice mix of tunes because that's Sparklejet, in my opinion, is like, nobody kicks ass more than Sparklejet. Nobody's more interesting than Sparklejet. Nobody's more tender. Nobody's more unique and original than Sparklejet. You guys are as original and unique a band as anybody I've ever listened to. And
Thanks.
I just want to say this. I think I tried to say it earlier, but nobody has influenced me more. Nobody has in my life that I've known, that I've witnessed, has influenced me more or encouraged me more and taught me how to be an artist more than you. You're like the single most probably important person in my development as an artist in my life, because I've watched.
Oh man, I'll never forget. You were still in Fresno. No, you were in San Diego living with Melanie. And,
okay, good.
I think you were living out of wedlock, so it was like painful.
Yes, that's right.
And you guys were making your exodus out of California to New York, and so you were doing a show at the venerable, no longer
Tokyo Gardens.
Tokyo Garden, yeah. And you got up there by yourself, and you started playing, and I was in the audience. And your dad was there, your family's there. And I remember I heard you in a way I'd never heard you before. And what I mean is like you had arrived.
Oh.
And you were an artist and you had something to say, like concisely and all figured out,
No.
And that's Francine.
There's Francine.
Oh, hey Francine. So cool.
Oh, yeah.
The coolest lady ever, man.
That's right. There she is.
She's a warrior, man.
Yeah,
amazing.
Totally.
So it was great seeing you do that and seeing how you had arrived and developed your artistry. And I remember thinking like, oh man, like he's gonna blow us all away.
Well, I'll go on record right now and saying, number one, this is the longest MXDTV episode yet, and I knew it would be because and one episode's not enough. We got to have you back because I could just talk to you all night. And
if you want me back, I'll come back.
Okay, great. The other thing I was gonna say is I was gonna say something else, and I don't know what it is now. Oh, I think this is the most nervous I've been.
No, man, you're great.
Because of I think, you get nervous in front of people you admire, you know what I mean? So I think that was the other thing I wanted to say, but I
love you, man.
I love you too, and I feel really honored to have you here and have so many beautiful people, so many great people from the Valley watching and tuning in, and all my family and friends and all your family and friends. It's been really great. I think we need to do you have anything you want to say any parting words for the viewers, Victor Sotelo? Any words of wisdom for us?
You two could talk for 1,000 hours.
We have talked for 1,000 hours.
Yeah, we probably have. Yeah, I would say that.
See you next month.
I would
thanks,
say
Laura.
that
It's so cool to have you here.
I would say that I'm happy to still be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here too.
I'm grateful to be here. I wouldn't have made it this far just as a person and as a songwriter without you, my friends, all my friends that have helped me and mentored me and taught me so much, man. Like so much that I've learned from so many different people.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what else can you ask for, man?
Yeah. Melanie and I were just talking about that today. I'll just quickly say this. You have to suss out who your real colleagues and friends are, because you need them. And you know, earlier you said something about when you were in the darkest part of your depression that you thought you were all alone and you were trying to handle it alone.
Yes.
But what saved you was your family and your friends.
Sister, yes.
And it's the same thing when you're making art and living your life. You have to have people you can bounce ideas off of and talk to when you need to talk to them. And without them, we're sunk. But sometimes it's hard to know who they are, who your real friends are. But you know, if you have a few really good friends in life, you're pretty lucky, right?
And one last, yes, absolutely, I totally agree with that. And I would say that if for anyone out there that has those kinds of struggles, and sometimes it hits you worse than others, and you don't have to do it alone. I learned that you don't have to deal with it alone.
Right.
And the people that care, you have somebody that cares. There's some people out there that care about you. You have that, use it.
Right.
Reach out and don't try to be to suffer, you know, quietly.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you can do that, they're gonna be there for you. You're gonna trust them. They're gonna be there for you, and they're gonna help you
Alexis.
come out of it.
Right. Absolutely.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Well said. Well said. Well, Victor, I love you so much, man.
Yeah, man, I love you too, dude.
And thanks for all the great music. Please listen to Sparklejet's new record, Kola. It's out everywhere. Go buy it and listen to it. And listen to all of his. What are you pointing at? What's that?
My shirt.
What does it say?
It's the Ukrainian response to the Russian warship.
Oh, is that what it is? That's great.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Right. That's great. I think that's where we end the show. Fuck off, Russia. And
fuck off, Russia.
Here, Scott. Love you, Scott.
All right. Scott's amazing.
He's amazing. You're next, Scott. We got to have if you have time, we'd love to have you on the show. Thank you everybody for tuning in and for sticking around for this special bonus edition of MXDTV.
The long-winded MXDTV edition.
But so great. And thanks for being here, Victor. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya,
Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Bye.
See ya.